Hey everyone, welcome back to VerbalPodcast, the Vocab Show. I'm Janie, and I'm thrilled to dive into today's word, abject.
And I'm Alex. We're here to break down this sharp adjective that really paints a grim picture. You know?
Absolutely. Abject means, well, wretched or pitiful, and it's used to describe situations that are, profoundly negative, like abject poverty or outright misery.
Yeah, and it goes beyond just something being bad. It implies complete failure or total submission. Think of phrases like abject defeat or even an abject apology.
Right. So, for example, you might say, after spilling coffee on my white shirt before an important meeting, I felt abject embarrassment. Or,
Yeah,
the team's abject performance led to a crushing loss.
and in more serious contexts, you've got situations like the refugees lived in abject conditions, without shelter or food, which just emphasizes the dire state of things.
I like that. It really drives home how extreme the condition is. Another cool example could be, she stared at the abject ruin of her once beautiful garden after the storm. It really sets a scene, huh?
Totally. And then there's the construction part. Abject is almost always used before a noun. You wouldn't say he is abject on its own. It's always abject failure, abject terror, or even abject hopelessness.
Exactly. And to add a little history, abject comes from the Latin word abjectus, meaning thrown away or cast down. It's like the word itself got thrown down into a pit of misery, you know?
That's a neat origin. Although I wonder, you know how sometimes language evolves in unexpected ways? I mean, the literal thrown away isn't as obvious now. Would you say that diminishes the impact?
I see your point, Alex, but I actually think it deepens the meaning. The notion of being cast down fits perfectly with modern usage, which is why you have abject poverty or even an abject sense of loss after something tragic.
Yeah, good perspective there. So if we put abject into some full sentences, like, the dictator's reign left the country in abject poverty, or his abject pleading eventually earned him a second chance, we really capture that intensity.
Right on. And imagine these scenarios. You lose your job, your savings, and even your home in a single month. Talk about abject circumstances. Or say your favorite sports team loses every single game of the season. That's not just a loss, it's an abject failure.
Yeah. And even a lighter twist could be at a karaoke night where you perform so badly that the room goes silent. A kind of abject performance, albeit in a humorous way.
I love that example. It shows how the word can work in both serious and playful contexts. My quick memory trick for abject is to think of it as being thrown down into a really terrible state, be it poverty, misery, or sheer humiliation.
Well said. And before we wrap, let's drop a couple more examples. The rebels faced abject defeat, and she lived in abject isolation for years. Such stark language really highlights those extreme situations.
Absolutely. That's our word for today, abject. Whether it's describing a tragic downfall or an utterly dismal situation, it's the perfect word to capture that intensity. Thanks for listening, folks.
See you next time on VerbalPodcast, the Vocab Show. And as always, stay curious and stay verbal.